But let me go to the question around the supplementary budget, which is of interest to many Nigerians. Now, the report is that the House of Representatives have removed the 5 billion naira allocated or requested for a presidential yacht, whilst the Senate hasn't done the same. So there still needs to be harmonization in that regard. I'd like to ask you on behalf of the Senate, well, maybe no, at least as a senator, the justification of why the amount of money was left in the budget, in the supplementary budget, despite what a number of people have criticized as being unnecessary and not needed at this time of our economic situation.
Again, let me clarify the issue of the yacht, the presidential yacht, as you call it. What actually happened is this is a supplementary budget. Supplementary budget means filling in the gap or making some additions that are urgent to the running of the government. The issue of presidential yacht, let me clearly say it, is not the initiative of the government of President Tinubu. It was already in the budget, or 2023 budget, as of Navy. And when they came for the budget defense, we saw that amount, we queried it actually, and the clarification we got from them is that this is like a committed cost that they need to pay, because most of these products that you see or items that you find in the budget are dollar-based, while our budget is in naira. And that's why you see the prices of things or even the budget escalating, because the rate of the exchange rate has gone up from the estimated 750, now it's about 800. So you can see the difference. I mean, 435, well, the budget was predicated on 435 or thereabout. But now it's about 800 and something, even at the bank rate. So when we ask those questions, the Navy provided explanation, especially clarifying that this is not a new item, so to say, because I know that the president, by his nature, is not a luxurious person, so I don't think he will go for that. But anyway, we felt that at this time, that 5 billion going for that is inadequate. And in the House of Rep, they felt this, different, and they felt that that should completely be removed and added to the 5 billion that is provided for 5.6, I think, for the student loan, which is one of the critical things in the supplementary budget. And as you rightly said, we are harmonizing on that. And the Navy also believes that that is not their area of priority. But the thing is, because you have a committed cost and it has foreign exchange implication, and they felt that the commitment has to be met, especially when I understand that the presidential yacht has already been delivered.
Oh, okay. So for purpose of clarity, it's already signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just to pay the money. So the outcry is not even necessary.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So the deal has been signed, but signed and delivered, but not paid. So, and that's why that's what brought the inclusion of that amount in the supplementary budget.
Okay. Senator Ndume, good to see you again and welcome here. I'd like to kindly talk to you about...
Is that Rufai?
My dear Senator, good to see you.
Rufai, na you?
Good to see you, Senator. Senator, I would like to talk to you about...
I have two intimidating people there, you and Ruben.
No, Senator, don't go there. Don't go there. We are not intimidating you. You know, we welcome everybody, Senator. Senator, let's talk about this 160 million for SUV. I saw an interview where you tried to justify it, and you said the reason why they are getting Land Cruisers this time was the fact that at some point they requested for Prados, but you were talking about stability issues and all of that. But a lot of Nigerians are saying this is insensitive. Senator, there's an automaker in Nigeria called Innocent and Nord and the likes, and these guys make also very good cars that can support the automotive sector in Nigeria. So why can't we patronize them? Why must it be taking all this hard-earned forex to Japan And you senators are trying to justify it at a time like this.
Well, let me say clearly that I am not very much concerned about the type of vehicle, but it is not a new thing to be buying vehicles for official use. This, even when I was a child, I know that government workers do have official vehicle besides their own personal vehicle because they use it for official duty. I gave you a rundown of what happened because I've been in the National Assembly since 2003. When we came in, we were given cars. I think that time was 406, and then the senators were given Camry, and the price differential was not much. But as you know, in summary, the price of vehicles continue to go up. I'm hearing that the cost of each one is 160 million. I don't know about that because I'm not in the management. All I care about is if the vehicles are made available for us to use. That's it. But I agree that at this time, the cost of products, generally not only SUV vehicles, is way high. But the question is it proper to have a vehicle for each senator or a member of House of Rep to use? The answer, I believe, is yes. Now, the issue you raised, which is also important, is the issue of why don't you use the locally assembled vehicle? That is a point too, but I want to correct you and tell you that you know that they don't manufacture any vehicle in Nigeria. They do assemble. And the product Innocent
Innocent says otherwise. Innocent says otherwise. He says he manufactures.
No, they are assembly.
In fact, you see,
no. They are not.
So some components in the car, and I'm sorry I have to do this, like a spokesperson or some components in the car, the plastics, for instance, are produced locally.
Yeah.
We've had a chance to interview him many times. He says he's manufacturing. That's what he says. I don't know a lot about it.
No, he's not.
That's what
he's not
Innocent says. Okay, but that's what Innocent says.
Well, let me clarify. I don't want us to argue on that because I'm not either a demarketer of Innocent products and you are a marketer of it. But Nigeria is Nigeria that that even if the plastic components of a vehicle does not constitute up to maybe 10% of it. So you can't say because you are assembling and then you produce like 10% or 5% of the total product, and you say you are manufacturing. No. When you say you are manufacturing, it means from everything to tires, battery, everything of that vehicle is either manufactured by your factory or manufactured in Nigeria for your factory. That's it. And it's not true. And as I said, I really don't want to argue on that. I prefer made in Nigerian goods. When we were in the House of Rep, we were to buy, the senators were to buy Camry, and the House of Rep was to buy their vehicle. When they chose another car, I argued that time that we must patronize either even Nigeria assembled. That time, ASD was assembling Peugeot 406 in Kaduna, and that was why we went for it. So it's not like we are completely insensitive to
so why not patronize
of Nigeria.
So why not patronize Innocent now that they are assembly, or Nord that they are assembling now? Because if you said you patronize Peugeot 406 because it was assembled in Nigeria, then why not patronize them now? So why go for a high-end, luxurious Land Cruiser? And if you guys used 406 before or Camry before, why can't you use something in that range like a sedan now? Why? That's just all what Nigerians are asking.
Well, that's a Rufai. I think that is better, answered by the management or this. But let me add again that in the situation we find ourselves, even you personally, you cannot travel on Nigerian roads now with small vehicles, and that is not high lifted, because most of our roads are bad. That is the truth of it. I have a friend that traveled to Kaduna recently, despite the work that is being done on Abuja-Kaduna highway. He told me that next time he's not going to use his Camry because He had problems in getting to Kaduna. Instead of getting there in 3 hours, it took him about 4 hours. So these are the challenges that we have. And I want to tell you that most of us are not really worried about the issue of what type of vehicle is the vehicle that will enable us to effectively carry our oversight responsibility, which is very important and constitutional. Senator. It's not that senators want luxurious cars to themselves. Yes, sir.
Well, Senator, you use the phrase, I'm not concerned that, Japanese vehicles will be brought into Nigeria. Many Nigerians will be worried about that, but that's not the question I want to ask you. The Senate recently had a retreat in Akwa Ibom. Now, these retreats, every 4 years, the Senate of the Federal Republic goes somewhere to have a retreat. Of what value are these retreats? Is it that, when these retreats take place, it's just for senators to go and enjoy and have fun, in a choice part of Nigeria? Because we don't see the effect as the people in terms of the effort. And in terms of the effort, I draw your attention to the screening of persons. Nigerians have been complaining that there seems to be no rigor, that senators are not doing enough work to screen people. Take the example of Etekamba Umore, who is now a resident electoral commissioner, appointed one of the 10 appointed by President Tinubu. There were complaints. The PDP in Akwa Ibom is complaining that, look, Etekamba Umore is an APC activist, a former chief of staff to Godswill Akpabio, and who was actively involved in the campaigns for APC. How do you put a partisan, confirmed member of APC as a resident electoral commissioner, and you take him to the same Akwa Ibom state? And it's because of this that people are saying that this looks like a rubber stamp National Assembly. As Chief Whip, what is your reaction?
Well, okay, let me start with the one that you just ended now. Do I say now that coming to this interview this morning would Ruben Abati, known PDP spokesman, and I am a known APC man, that you should not be the one to interview me or interrogate me on this program? No. Despite the fact that I would have said, why don't you get me APC friendly?
No, I'm sitting here as a journalist. I'm sitting here as a journalist, not as a politician.
No. Okay,
point of correction.
You
and I'm proving to everybody that I have a second address. I moved on. I returned to my profession.
PDP.
No, I'm not doing PDP work here. See, I'm a journalist.
So you see, but the PDP blood is in you. You can't deny that. You have been a PDP defender for 8 years or more than that. So I would have said, and I said it at the beginning locally, I said, I hope you are not going to intimidate me on this interview. And that is because maybe it has some PDP sentiment or something like that. But
no, there's no
not,
PDP sentiment.
A journalist that is... No, but you say it's the PDP that complained from Akwa Ibom.
No, other Nigerians have complained.
For PDP on that side.
No,
other PDP has complained.
Please go ahead.
Okay, now coming back. So as I said, the problem is the way politics is being played, or participation in the politics. Clearly, the law, after I think some times back, said that every Nigerian has a right to actively participate in politics, including even civil servants who are then allowed to take sides or be apolitical, which is the beginning, all right? So it means that anybody sitting out there can be either PDP or anything or belong to a particular political party. So having somebody, I'm not denying maybe the fact that the person is PDP or APC. The important thing is when such person is appointed, when the line is drawn, and he is supposed to be a resident electoral commissioner. When an election is conducted, was it free and fair, or was this partisan by him as a person? That is the case that will now come up if he in the discharge of his duty or duties, he is biased. So I don't think that is the case. And then now the first question, I think, can you remind me a bit on the first question you wanted me to answer on? And that is, okay, the speed at which we pass, we clear nominees, and also the way we even, and now we worked on the supplementary budget. You see, this screening is done in several stages. And that is why our own is not even called screening, so to say. It is confirmation. Confirmation. To confirm or not confirm. Because the screening aspect, the senators cannot effectively do it. And that's why they go, after nomination by the president, they go through thorough screening in terms of what is required legally by the appropriate institutions like SSS, like police, and other security agents, run security clearance on the person. And when it comes to the Senate, we look at the circumstance and the competence and the CV of the person that is normally given to us as senators. And remember, I don't want you to, maybe the public are saying that, yes, we are going at a very high speed in terms of clearing these people. But at the same time, the public will now also complain if we unnecessarily or exceedingly put a candidate through extensive or whatever delayed confirmation. And then you start hearing maybe there is anything behind or the like. So I think the issue is balancing. But the main question is, are the nominees screened or confirmed by the Senate competent and qualified? And in most cases, these candidates, especially the nominees of Mr. President, most of them are screened from him at the beginning to ensure that they are qualified. And believe me, to me, majority, I cannot say all, are people of competence. What it remains is to allow them to do the job and let them be assessed based on their performance. And another good thing about it is, even after we screen the candidate, there are some candidates, I think one or two, that have been dropped by Mr. President after an outcry from the public. And even the Senate withheld the confirmation of 3 people out of those that were presented to the Senate. I'm not saying that we are working perfectly, but I think we are trying our best, having to a balance between the national interest and time. All right.
We appreciate your thoughts on time. However, the reason why some people would still say perhaps this assembly is a rubber stamp assembly is because when you look at the details of the supplementary elections, going back to the details, we have 7.3 billion allocated to buying cars for the State House. And one of such is 1.5 billion for the First Lady. In the Constitution, is there any provision for the office of the First Lady? And were there any questions asked as to the vehicles that will be bought, 1.5 billion allocated? Why? Those are the questions that Nigerians are asking, because it seems like any request from the president is looked at, a few conversations around it, and passed. No deep questions to check and balance the office of the executive. That's what Nigerians are asking for from the Senate and the National Assembly.
Well, we're trying to do that. And as I said, for me, in the budget that was brought before us, I know that there are items, line items tagged as the provision of vehicles, fleet vehicles for the National Assembly, whether some are for the office of the First Lady and the like or not. But let me clear this. I know the First Lady. We've been in the Senate for 12 years. I don't think that the First Lady actually requested personally for luxurious vehicles or that.
But did you ask this question, Senator Ndume? You cannot make assumptions without asking questions. You know her, but you didn't ask questions. That's the responsibility of the Senate. You can't pass based on assumption that, oh, I believe your good intentions. You need, this is public money that's going to be spent.
I understand. I'm saying that the purchase of the vehicle is for the presidential fleet, and that including the presidential fleet includes the vehicles that the First Lady uses, the President uses, all that uses. I am not in the position to defend that or to argue on it, as you said. But I say, I know, I'm just speaking what I know about the First Lady and her likes for either items or dislikes. Somebody that you have been together for 12 years, at least you know her attitude and what she needs and what she does not need, or what is she the flamboyant type of person? Is it the person that is materialistic? That's what I'm only trying to say. But definitely there were provisions in the vehicle. And let me add again, when we asked the State House as to why buying these vehicles are mostly the most unfortunate thing that happens in the Nigerian financial system or budget system is the fact that almost all the products are dollar-based, and the budget is in Naira. Okay. And these vehicles, for example, when placed in order and behold they are supplied based on the current dollar rate, which is far or almost double what it used to be when the budget of 2023 was prepared. Most of the items, even in the security sector or all the sectors, most of the items are not locally procured products that, or capital issues that can be procured locally. And if it is that would have reduced the cost. But because most of these items have to be imported, and then you know that the payment has to be made in dollars, that's why cost makes the cost go up. Okay. What I was trying to say, I repeat again about the First Lady, is that I don't think these things are personal. But that your question is saying, is it justifiable? Okay. Is it justifiable? Is it fair not to buy a vehicle for the presidential fleet after the ones that they have now have been used for a long time? And I don't know, but normally vehicles are boarded. If the president is going, for example, the outgoing president, if he serves for 8 years, some of the vehicles that he uses are normally boarded. Okay. Okay. So these are the issues, and the time problem is also a contributing factor. Okay. I would have been able, if to say we went through long budget analysis before we do that.